What is up, everybody? I'm George Mossey. This is my co-host Heather C. Unexpected season 5. This is the tell-all, episode 15, guys. Part 2 of the tell-all. It is aired. The season is wrapping up, but there's still so much to talk about. So let's just jump in because I want to make sure we cover a lot. And Kylan and Jason, as you know, last week left the tell-all early. I mean, like 5 minutes after they got there, but then they decided to come back. Jason wanted to make a closing statement. He was given the opportunity to make a closing statement and wasn't able to come up with anything at all. And then they exited again. And when they asked for their thoughts on what had happened at the tell-all in the season, they wouldn't give a comment. I don't want to repeat exactly what Jason said, but there was no comment given. So wishing them all the best. And I do want to say the girls on the show were just trying to reach out and make sure that Kylan felt supported and that she had someone to talk to. And unfortunately, they were unable to get through to her. So we are hoping that everything is good with Kylan and Xavier, and hopefully that her relationship with her parents are better. So we talked to Jenna, and we found out that she just packed up one day and moved out of Aiden's house. And that was pretty bold, right? A lot of mothers, especially of young children, feel like they can't leave the guy that they're with because of so many different reasons. There's so many complex reasons and emotions that keep people in relationships even though they don't want to be there. And Jenna decided one day that she had had enough and she was ready to move out on her own, and she's happy. And she even told us that her and Aiden don't really talk outside of text messages regarding Luca. Are you surprised?
Kinda. I know that, she really loved Aiden and stuff. But it is new and she is trying to find herself. So maybe she just needs that time to heal and to process. At least she still communicates with him over the child, because in the end result, that's all that really matters. Because if they were simply just two teenagers dating, I mean, look at the status of teenage relationships. You know, the old school like circle of paper, like, do you like me, yes or no, and then you'd be like, this person would be your boyfriend or girlfriend for like a week, and then so it's not uncommon to see teenagers break up. A lot of people don't last a lifetime, you know what I mean? But because they have Luca, that puts in a whole nother perspective. So it's sad to see that they didn't last, but she said she's at her happiest. So I'm happy for her. And, like, she just needs this time, like I said, to find herself, to heal. And as long as they still communicate over Luca, that's all that really matters in the end.
Exactly. I'm happy for her. She's reconnecting with her friends and she's living her best life. And
she looks great.
So happy. Yeah, you look great, and we're happy for you, Jenna. And we hope that you find what you're looking for. And if you do start dating again, that he's a good guy. He treats you well. He speaks to you respectfully. It's all we really want for you.
And Aiden, take this time to grow. Realize what you had and what you lost and work on yourself. So maybe in the future you can, reconnect with your family. Nothing but love for all of them.
Right, so let's talk about Erica and Emerson, right? So we know that Emerson during the season decided that she could not live under her mother's roof. The rules were too much. And we also learned that Erica did the exact same thing as a teenager. She couldn't live under her parents' rules and left. So we're seeing so many similarities because we've all seen throughout the season, Sai and other people have told us Erica and Emerson are literally the same identical person, just in different ages. So we know that they are very stubborn and they don't apologize and they want things their way. So we're seeing that here. But we also see Erica meet Shannon for the first time virtually. And we know that there has been a lot of harsh statements made about Shannon and her household, and even about Ernie. Ernie's been thrown into the mix too. And I feel like he's not really a part of it. We've seen Ernie thrown under the bus because he responded to a phone call from Emerson when Erica and Emerson were fighting to pick up the baby and Erica and bring him over. And he's been kind of thrown into the mix and made out to be a bad guy. And I just love to see the communication and having the time to see Shannon explain herself and just say, hey, you're throwing out these judgments about me. You've never taken one moment to pick up the phone or to come to our house and have a conversation with me or to get to know me. And I hope that resonates, with everyone. Like, we can't always make judgments based on things that people have done, because every single person on this planet has done something in their past that they're ashamed of. And we can't just go labeling people bad based on one thing that they've done.
I think that one thing that people don't realize about Erica is that because her and Emerson are so much alike, she kind of sees her younger self in her. So I think that's why she is so overprotective, because it's almost like she saw, because she lived that life. She said herself she was a teen mom. She also probably gave her parents grief, and she said she didn't want to follow the rules or directions. So it's basically like a carbon copy. And your parents always say, like, I hope when you get older you have a kid just like you. So like when that happens, it's kind of like, since you lived the life and you saw maybe struggles you might have had or whatever, you don't want your child, because that's your baby, you don't want your child to have to go through the same struggles that you went through, because you know the right path, you live the life. So you want to skip out the middleman and just be like, no, don't do that, because I promise you that path is going to be harder. So that's why she's so strict on her children, because she wants them to have something better. And that makes you a great mom. Now, the fact with her and her judgment on, Ernie, Shannon, I think that is a little harsh, because I think she's speaking out of emotion. I think that she might also be hurt, because nobody wants to hear that their child doesn't want to live with them. They want to live with somebody else and have somebody else look after them and raise them and stuff. But that's probably why she said her relationship is better with Emerson, because they have that time and that distance where they're not bumping heads all the time. It's a shame that they can't all be one big happy Brady Bunch family. Yeah. But I think Ananda said, not everybody is for everybody. So it sucks, because Shannon seems like maybe she's hurt because she's getting judged for things that she did. And I think Erica is just very passionate. And I think she's just, like I said, speaking out of like emotions and being hurt. And, Ernie was just kind of like, he's just in the wrong place at the wrong time, Right. Like, I think he's like, I'm just trying to help Emerson out. Like you said, I'm the taxi driver, like, don't shoot the messenger. But there's a lot of healing and a lot of growth that needs to come. So I hope that somewhere down the line they can repair it, just so they can think of Mateo, because he's the important one.
Christmas, holidays, Thanksgiving, Mateo's going to want all of his family together. Yeah. And that's what we want to see. And they're going to have to come to some sort of agreement to get along and not spew judgments at each other, just so Mateo can grow up and see love and acceptance in his family, because that's so important. And a lot of women have told me that they couldn't be friends with their mom until their 20s and mid to late 20s at that, because a lot of women and their mothers are very alike, like you were saying. And sometimes you have to become an adult, and that's when women can be best friends with their mom. I've heard so many ladies tell me, like, I'm best friends with, yeah, exactly. Like, I'm best friends with her now, but as a teenager, it was a torturous relationship. So I'm hoping that's what we're going to see happen here. All right, so we saw that Lily and Lawrence have not gotten married. That was what we were all wondering, because they were looking at wedding venues on the finale, and we thought that they were going to get married. But they've informed us that they are no longer rushing into it, and they are now focusing on moving back into Lily's original childhood home, which isn't what you think, because Lily's parents are actually moving into a 55 and older community, and they're going to get this big, beautiful home with this beautiful yard and beautiful porch for exactly what they were paying for their apartment, because the rent got raised, which we know what's going on in the world now. Rent's going up. So now they're going to have this beautiful home. They have all this space, because we learned that Lawrence was not even in the bed anymore. There was no room in the bed for him. So now they're not going to have any of those issues. And Sandy, his mom, is going to be even closer. So things are really looking up for them. So I'm hoping next season we're going to see them actually walk down the aisle.
I think this is great for them. I'm really happy. And you know what? Aaliyah might actually take well to this too, because this was the first house that she lived in. And, she might even be able to go back to her original bedroom, because that's something that she's used to. Kids want stuff that they're used to. They want surroundings and stuff that remind them of familiarity. So hopefully, with them moving back in, she'll be like, oh, Mom, I got this. I'm in my own room. And then Lawrence can move back in the bed, and maybe there'll be a baby number 3 somewhere down the line.
Well, I'm really excited for what is going on with all these couples. Again, we watched this season. We've watched them grow. We've watched them go through their ups and downs. And we wish all the best for everyone. We definitely wish for the best for Kylan and Jason. We want them to grow. And I saw some things on the tell-all today as well with Kylan and how she was unable to answer a question that Alonda asked her. And I want Kylan to just find herself, find her voice, and, you know, like Jenna did, find yourself and make sure that you're putting yourself and Xavier first. And no one is more important than you, you know, and your baby. So if someone else's opinion is taking precedence over how you feel, you know, I want that to change. You know, you should always put yourself first. And now that you have a beautiful baby boy, that is so important. And to all these ladies, congratulations on your new babies and your relationships and your newfound independence. For Jenna, and thanks for sharing your stories with us. Thanks for watching this podcast. We're excited for the new season, season 6. New people, these are familiar faces we don't know yet, but we will be here to watch it with all of you. I'm George Mossey. This is my co-host, Heather C. Thanks for joining us, and we'll talk to you all really soon.
Bye.